Hello, Anushka. We'll wait for everyone to join. In a few minutes, we'll start. Oh, yeah, that's what I was asking. Am I visible and audible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, welcome everyone. I hope you all are doing well. So, first question is, how many of you have completed all the recorded lectures? Raise your hand. Now you can just write the number of lectures you've completed till now in the chat box. 1, 2, 3, 4, any number. Till day 3. Okay. Day 4. Day 4 as in research, right? Day 3. Okay. What about Anushka? So we'll begin with day 1. Anyone has any doubts related to day 1? Day 1 is goals and perspectives of psychology. Anyone has any doubts from goals and perspectives? Yes or no? Raise your hand if you have any doubts. All right. So most of you have completed till day three. So day three, you mean pseudopsychology, right? Or day three is how to think like a psychologist. All right. So next, any doubts from pseudopsychology or any topic that you don't understand? You don't have to hesitate. Just ask. No. Any doubts from how to think like a psychologist? Any doubts from research? How many of you have completed the research? Well, guess no one. You have completed only day two, three, four. Okay. Any doubts from any of the recorded lectures that you've seen? Say yes or no, at least.
No, ma'am.
All right, Pratyata. What about others? Okay, so well, for today, then we have our tasks. So I will explain you the tasks that you'll be going to have in your internship. All right. Let me prepare myself for sharing the screen. Give me a minute. All right. So in when you have no doubts, so in the tasks there will be total four tasks, and in those four tasks, what you have to do is the first two I'm going to explain you today, so that they are not very hard for you to do. Let me share my screen. But for the task one, what you need to do is write a critical review of any movie. So, critical review as in you have to include, of course, both the positive and negative points. But how do we write a psychological review in a report format? So, when you will cover, how many of you have like familiar with the APA format of report writing? Raise your hand. Is anyone familiar or heard the name of APA?
No, ma'am.
All right. So APA is American Psychological Association. There is also Psychiatric Association, but today here we are talking about the Psychological Association. So in Psychological Association, they've given a particular format for report writing. So when you will go to the lecture of research, you will come across the format. So that's why I say you should, at least block 15 minutes per day so that you can watch the recordings. So there is this APA format. The question like pointers are there, but you also need to take care of what things you need to do in that. So first I'll tell you what points you need to include and how to write a report. So in this psychological review of the movie, what you need to include is all the characters, habits, noticeable behavior and pattern given. And in the general instructions, well, of course, they've said you to make the report on APA format. So, apart from these, you need to take care of first write the introduction and then research objective. Next, you can include about the character, the critical review that you need to write. Any noticeable pattern behavior, whatever you've seen. Next is interpretation and discussion, and then conclusion. So these are the points you need to cover in this report. So why are you choosing these points? Like to analyze the character of the movie, whatever character you choose from any movie. Then about the character, whatever the things they have asked here, and then interpret that from these characters' behavior, habits, these can be the probable symptoms of these disorders and how it happens. And then these part will come into the interpretation and conclusion, and then last will be the interpretation and discussion, and last will be the conclusion. So in conclusion, you just have to write in very short that yeah, this is the overall conclusion of what you've said. So conclusion would be very short and precise. Now, whenever you need to submit the report, it should be in document format, right? In document format, the size, well, it is the given by AP, So all the things are very particular. Wait, font will be Times New Roman. Size, its font size, no? 12. Headings can go 14. So just note down all of these things. And spacing can be double between the lines. Margins, 1 on all sides. Size, ideal size of the paper is A4, of course. So these are the things that you need to take care of. So what is this APA report? It's like whenever we have a research, I can just show you a small format of this. Wait a minute. So this is one example of how do we write a film review. So in this, they've included the introduction, the theoretical review of what psychological disorder the person is having. Well, wait a minute. This is a bit different. Well, of course, you'll have to include the type of psychological disorders included in that. But this is a bit familiar to more to your format. Introduction, the research objectives, whatever the findings that you're going to have, then interpretation and discussion. That's it. You don't need to include the references and all of those things. Abstract, not needed. Just introduction about the movie, plot, settings, and everything. Then research objectives. Then what you need is about the character, and then interpretation and discussion. Whatever you have interpreted from the characteristics of the habits or any noticeable behavior pattern of the person, and then the conclusion. So include these 5 points, and it is done. Is it clear to all of you? Any questions?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
All right, Pravita. What about others? Is it clear? Any questions? All right. So next is sorry. Your next task will be, let me again share my screen. You don't have to worry about the task from now on. Just focus on your training part and whatever they've asked for you to write now. Go through the recorded lectures because if you don't see them, you'll not be able to score good for the internship part, no? So, anxiety, depression, and stress. So, in the first lecture, we already know that, yeah, things are measurable, no? Yes or no, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Next is anyone of you is familiar with how to measure these stress, anxiety, depression? Anyone? Yes, Prakrita.
Ma'am, so I guess there are various scales that psychologists develop to measure various, not just like mental disorder, but there can be many things such as there are various scales for measuring stigma or measuring other phenomenons. So that's how we one way we can measure this.
Yes, as said by Akshita and Ashtika both. So, in ADSS, today we'll do the test by It is designed in Lucknow by Pallavi Bhatnagar, Megha Singh, and a few others. So, let me share the screen. So, this is the booklet. All you need to do is go through the booklet and see the instructions. Give the instructions very carefully, make the person comfortable, and let the other person know that this is for the study purpose. And all the answers will be confidential because some questions can be, the person might not want to answer correctly. So, all like assure them that all of the responses that they're going to give will be confidential and tell them to just take yes or no in the boxes alongside the statements in which they feel that which goes most with them, right? So there are total 48 statements and all the statements are compulsory. They have nothing to do with the scoring part. When this is done, collect the sheet and express gratitude, let them go. And then comes the scoring part. In this scoring part, what you need to do is, according to the manual, when you see the manual, you will see that for every yes, there is 1 marks, and for every no, there is 0 marks. So put them in here in the table below every page. Go through the sections one, two, three, because statement numbers are different in all these sections. You must take care of that. So do the calculation for all the 3 pages and then go for the last page. Then do the total of section 1, section 2, and section 3 separately. So when you will get the raw score for section 1, section 2, and section 3, you move to the first page, and in the first page, what is there? There is this final scoring table. So raw score for anxiety, first section as in the anxiety, second as in depression, and the third as in stress. So these are the stress scores, raw scores you will get from the scoring that you will do for the 3 pages. So with the help of manual, what you need to do is, there are tables given already. See, these are the table where you will see the number of items for anxiety, depression, and stress. Accordingly, they have divided it into the manual also for your, or we can say, to simplify your scoring. Yes for one and zero for no. Well, norms have nothing to do with the norms right now. All you can do is do Z score. Well, it's norms only. So in Z score, don't go for the psychiatric patients, go for the normal population. So if, for example, if the 13 is the raw score for the anxiety, then the Z score will be 1.27 here. When again, similarly for depression, if the raw score is 14, then it will be 1.54. If the stress score is 14, then it will be 1.97. All right. So when you know that yeah, we've got the Z score, then give the grade. If the anxiety is 13, it's high. If depression is 14, it's high. If stress is 14, it's extremely high. So these are the things, and the grades are similarly B for high and A for extremely high. So whatever the score comes, if it is 10, between 10 to 12, then it will be above average, and all of, like, similarly you need to see these things. All right. So now all you need to do is see the grades, level, and Z score for the subject that you've selected. Again, for this, you need to write the report in the APF format. So APF format I've already explained to you. The things you need to do include in this is introduction. Next is what you can write is, no, the first will be the aim. Aim will be the one. The second will be the introduction. Don't give the pointers that I'm giving. I'm just giving for the understanding. Next will be aim, introduction, about material, no, about the subjects. All right. About the test can go first. Then about the subject, materials required, and then scoring. Scoring the same table on the first page, the final table that you will make. Then next will be again interpretation and discussion and conclusion. So these are the things that you need to include in the report for the second task. All right. So there is aim, introduction, about the test, about the subject. Well, these tasks are a bit easy for like Pragrita, I can say. Those are very familiar to psychology. And we'll go for the other two tasks in the next class. So any doubts till now? What you need to do in introduction, what you can do is write small definitions of anxiety, depression, and stress authentically, not from the Google, but given by either DSM or ICD-10. So you can include these things, and materials. Spelling is wrong. It's okay. Scoring and information. So these are the things you can include. You can change the serial of about the subject, and material required can come a little bit early. About the test can be after material required. So these things you can change. Otherwise, the format will be the same. Ma'am, can you share the task in the group as well, please? Well, I can share the group in the task in the group, Ashtika, but right now you're in the training period, no? So when you will clear the training period and an assessment test in between, then they will share the PDFs by themselves only one by one for each week, I guess. So there will be 1 week of time for one task to complete. So you don't have to worry about the PDFs or the documents that I'm showing to you in the screen share. They will share it to you. Otherwise, if it doesn't happen, then I can share that. Is not a problem, but it will happen. So you don't really need to worry about it. Next, well, there were a few questions in the last class. Do you remember any questions from the last class? Logotherapy, yes. So Viktor Frankl gave the logotherapy, and there is also one book called Man's Search for Meaning. So it's a small book. So if you have so much interest in logotherapy, you can go for that book. So is was it your question, Ashtika? Yes. Okay. So this is the one. So what he says that giving meaning or purpose to one's life is important. So he did one experiment in the lab, and what came across it that 60% of the people are like they needed a reason to live. So this was one thing, and they've had felt something or someone in their lives worth dying for. So it's like if they're giving their life away, there should be worth something that they should give their life for. So this is the main essence of came out of in the experiment. So he actually there is this whole story in the book. I've not read it completely, but so I'll not share it to you now because incomplete knowledge is not a good thing. So there are also few techniques he has said in that. So logotherapy's techniques are de-reflection, paradoxical intention, and the Socratic dialogue. So what happens in de-reflection is aimed at helping you focus away from yourself and towards the other people, allowing you to become whole and stress less and feeling preoccupied with a problem or body. So it's meant to combat hyper reflection or extreme focus on anxiety before. We can say de-reflection is helping you focus away from yourself. Whenever we are away from yourself and see ourselves as a third person, no, so there is the thing which happens. So this is one of the techniques. There is paradoxical intention, and there is also the Socratic dialogue. But what happens is logotherapy is what is more important. That whenever a person sits in logotherapy, you know what happens in psychoanalysis is they sit in a front of a person and the person speaks, and like for example free association, so the person speaks freely whatever the person speaks, and at that point, at some point the point comes when the person is saying so much freely that the unconscious is being revealed, no. But in logotherapy, it is a bit different. The person is made sit, but without passing judgment, but the look is towards the future, and the person also has to face the hard challenges, and to need to look for the, we can say, harsh truths about themselves, and like yeah, these are the hard truths and you need to work off. So the orientation is not so much of an unconscious or behavior or anything, but the orientation in logotherapy is more towards futuristic oriented, no. So this is one of the main things. It has also a spiritual dimension, that yeah, there is something beyond and you go through it. So there is a spiritual dimension. There is, of course, always and always there is purpose and there is meaning. The next is faith is also there, of course. So it deals with the spiritual realities and satisfy with moral principles. So these are the main points logotherapy, we can say, covers. And for the search of the meaning, what are the points which are necessary? So the necessary points can be whenever the person feels, we can say, how Seligman explains that there is learned helplessness, so in learned helplessness the person learns that yeah, now and nothing can happen, but with the help of logotherapy, what happens is we are able to teach to the person that no, there is a bit of a future orientation and you need to work for that. So the treatments are according to that only. So the therapist shows the person that there is a desire to have a meaningful life. Life is not without a meaning, and they discover their life's purpose. And there is also the concepts of free will, and will is one of the most important part. And even if there is a will, there is a meaning behind it. So this is also one thing. Next is, of course, the therapist helps the person to overcome the obstacles and whatever problem they're facing. So these are the main things for the positive psychology is one approach given by Viktor Frankl as a purpose of life, or we can say to have a meaningful life. Okay, ma'am, not sure. Not sure as in. Oh, autocorrect. It's okay. Let's do it. So this is like a very small gist, but if you want to go through it, you can go for the book, Man's Search for Meaning. Of course, if even if you're going through the story, any novel, some at some points there are very sadistic parts through which they have evolved, and from that evolution they've come to a certain point of learnings in their life, and those learnings are the things which are important to us. So whenever, well, the book is the Man's Search for Meaning, apostrophe S, yes, by Viktor Frankl. I can share. Wait a minute. How does it look like? Is it visible to you? Just looks like this. It's very small. So, well, that's the main things we needed to cover today. Any more questions related to any topics of psychology or your curiosities that you needed me to answer? All right. What about the two others? Do you have any questions or curiosities or anything that we should take up for the next lecture? No. All right. So, well, that's it for today. One, again, the reminder that you should take at least 15 to 20 minutes to at least go through the recorded lecture. So, if you not ask questions and you have doubts related to research or anything, then I will not be able to help you much later. So, of course, you should go through the lectures and come up with good questions and doubts so that we can have a good interactive session. All right. Good night, everyone.